pasta dough to make farfalle, also known as butterfly pasta. I think the doctor's obsession with plants and saving the environment will make her just swoon over this pasta with zucchini, herbs, pine nuts, and of course, flowers. But don't worry, everyone. I'll be very cautious of her pheromone-induced lipstick on our little dinner date. But if she does manage to sneak me some poison, I won't mind this plate of buttery pasta being my final meal. And if not, maybe I'll meet some of her interesting friends soon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Vinny Show. I'm your guest, Vinny, and we have our guest. This time we have Natalia Lepore Hagan of Midnight Pasta Company. I'm so excited to have you, Natalia. Thank you, and welcome to the show.
Yay, thanks. I'm so happy to finally be here with you. This is awesome.
It's a pleasure, and I know we've been trying to do this for some time now, so I appreciate you having taken the time out and demonstrating some of your great well, not just pasta, but story, and taking the time to just be with us. So thanks again.
Yeah, of course. Happy.
All right. Just a reminder to our viewers, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, share all that lovely stuff. And make sure we follow Natalia, and we'll make sure we post links to all her social networks and her site. And make sure you do us a very big favor, and please make sure you follow her. And you're going to love it. Once you see her content, you're going to thank me.
Thank you.
So, no, and I mean it. You know, I stumbled across you through the wonderful world of Instagram, and I was like, wow, like you. I mean, your videos. I mean, the food looks dynamite, but the way you present it and the way you do things that a lot of us are familiar with, a lot of these dishes, you put a twist on it that's very new and different and just beautiful. I mean, the presentation as well as just the impact it makes on the screen is tremendous.
Thank you. That's super sweet. I think that pasta and food and meals and dinners should always be special. And food is a beautiful way for people to come together and to, I don't know, experience the day and talk about their lives and what's been going on. And I think that it should always feel special. So that's what I try to do. I just try to make all my meals special. And I mean, like anyone can do that. It's just like about love and excitement.
Well, you know, and it's an interesting thing that you bring up because, yes, the whole, and I guess it's the Italian background, but I mean, Europe in general, it seems like we all have similar tendencies that we congregate around the table, and it's about that atmosphere and the celebration of great food and that bonding that takes place while we're at the table. But food, again, it's funny too, because I grew up working in the food industry. A lot of people may not know, but I worked in food and beverage since I was 12 years old as a busboy in the very famous Palumbo's in South Philly. And so and I was so little, I used to like get on my tippy toes to put the silverware on the table.
So cute.
But I grew up always around food, and not just obviously being around. My parents are from Calabria, so I grew up with their type of food, but also being around food, different food. It's almost like a spiritual experience, it's when you really, and I was just a busboy, waiter, or whatever, but I always made it a point to be very friendly with the chefs in the back, and I always was interested in cooking.
Yeah, I love that. I think that food is a spiritual experience. And I think that like we have these sense memories and these little things from when we're children. Like I went to Zahav. I don't know if you've been there, the Israeli restaurant by Michael Solomonov in Philly.
Heard of it. Haven't been there. Haven't had the pleasure yet.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful restaurant, but I had a really awesome food experience, like food sense memory when I had the lamb that he made.
I mean, obviously lamb is an important ingredient and dish in Southern Italian cooking. Well, I mean, all of Italy really, but especially Sardinians. But I love, I haven't had good lamb since my mother made it, so I'm missing it. But I always like very simple, cucina povera type stuff where it's in the oven with peas and potatoes, and I love it. But going back to let's talk about you. So okay, so how did you start your Midnight Pasta Company? What made you start with making fresh pasta and doing this whole business that you started?
It's kind of a long story, so I'll just try to like make it short. I'm a singer, dancer, actress in the Broadway touring community. I've been doing that my whole life, dancing, and then for 10 years I've done it professionally in New York. During the pandemic, my whole industry was shut down. So I started getting really into cooking and into food. And I started going back to my roots, which is pasta. I've been making pasta with my grandfather since I was like a baby. That's what we all did. We all made pasta for Christmas and for big meals together. And so my grandpa would throw it down on the table and yell at us and exactly how to do it right. And if we were doing it wrong, we were like, oh no, grandpa's going to get mad at us. And like, I love that. So it's all about my grandpa. His mother made pasta and it just kind of like trickled down from there. So I've been obsessed with pasta my whole life. During the pandemic, I went to culinary school. And then I just thought like, I want to make pasta. I just want to do it professionally. And when I moved to Philly, I moved to Fishtown, and Brian from Fishtown Seafood contacted me just from looking at some of my pictures and videos. And he said, I've been in professional kitchens and your pasta looks legit and I want to partner with you. So he helped me just open up my own company and I sell through him specifically right now.
Let's give him another plug. Who was it, Brian, from?
Fishtown Seafood.
Okay, let's definitely.
That's where you can buy my pasta.
Let's keep an eye on them, guys. Definitely for our viewers. Let's make sure we give them some love too. That's good. Good. Let's see. He saw the talent there. That's great. He recognized it.
He was sweet. He definitely took a chance on me, and it's working out. So I'm really happy. And he's such a great guy, and he likes working with women-owned businesses. And I think that was like so legit, so cool.
Yeah, and that's important. And look, there's so much room for it's funny because you think, okay, how many times can you make the same plate of pasta or whatever? But there's just so many variations. There's so many different techniques. There's so many ideas, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm not in food and beverage anymore. However, I always loved it. I think what really, besides working in it, I think I also remember the Iron Chef series, like those. That really hooked me into cooking. I mean, that was a while ago, but
my brother and I would do that all the time. We would watch it like all summer long when we could stay up late on Food Network and watch it. It was
so entertaining.
So entertaining.
Yeah. But okay, so now you said to yourself, okay, look, we're going to do this. I want to make a go with this.
Yeah.
And how was it starting out?
Honestly, I feel like I'm still starting out. We launched on around Valentine's Day, and there was this like huge push, and it was so cool. And I sold so much for Valentine's weekend because people like to make special meals, and I think homemade pasta is special for Valentine's Day. And so we did great. And then it just has been kind of like a working process, trying to just get my name out there, get people to know my company. And yesterday, I actually launched my branding and my new logo.
Congratulations. Yes, I saw it. Very cool.
Thank you. I was really excited. My friend from a really cool company called Midnight Grimm, close to Midnight Pasta, she did all my branding. And so I'm still just like starting out. So it's been really exciting.
I mean, again, I know I'm like really... singing your praises here, which I know you can't stand, but but you, I'm looking at your videos. I'm looking at the way you're putting together these dishes, and even how you just edit your reels on Instagram. Particularly Instagram is where I'm watching you, and I'm like you're at a whole other level. I mean, I really mean it. You're at a real high level with the way you present the food and the way you're making it is one thing, and the way you're producing your pasta, but the way you're editing it and and I have to tell you, like your dinnerware is beautiful. I'm looking at these plates. I'm like, I gotta get those.
Thanks, William Sonoma.
There you go.
Thank you. No, I'm honestly learning everything on the fly. Like I go to the gym in the morning and I watch these videos of like how to use this app, how to do this and how to do that. And I'm like on the elliptical or the treadmill, just like researching and learning. And then I come home, I edit, I do everything by myself. And I don't know, it's been actually really fun. There's a little piece of me because I'm not at the moment performing. So I can miss that kind of like being on the stage and the performance aspect of my life. So this is a way for me to be able to still be be an artist and be a performer because pasta making can be also like a solitary thing, and you can be behind the scenes or in a basement cooking in a restaurant. And so I don't know, I kind of like being like, no, this is my pasta and I made it and here's my face.
So it's almost like a cathartic experience. You can transfer your need to want to demonstrate your ability through the dish.
Yeah, exactly. I always need to perform. I don't know.
That's good. Good. Listen, I got a little bit of that too. I don't know if you've seen any of my reels, but
Yes. I love that.
but anyway, so okay, so you're starting out. This is still, you're on the ground floor, which is awesome. So, and by the way, so is my show. So we're both kind of starting out our careers with one particular industry or another. But with that being the case, what are your struggles right now? What are you facing that's your most difficult sort of challenges?
Right now, I think I'm struggling the most with just getting people to come in and buy pasta. It's kind of hard to get my name out there. People are coming to a seafood shop to get seafood. And so they like don't think about the pasta element. So that's why I'm making these videos to be like, you can make salmon and pasta, and you can make a beautiful dish with anchovies you can buy from the store. So I'm trying to like do these like cross promotional things to get people to realize that like pasta and seafood makes so much sense. So I think that's just my biggest struggle. But um, I'm really hoping to be on some more shelves soon. Um, that's exciting. We have some fun stuff in the works, but I think that that's just my biggest struggle is like just come and eat my pasta.
And well, I'm sure once they do, they realize the difference. I mean, there's a big difference. I know that for sure. There's a way big difference between fresh pasta than some that's been sitting around for in a container, for God knows how long.
Yeah, I mean, not knocking the boxed pasta, but there's something so special about homemade pasta that just makes it like, oh, I don't know. It's a beautiful experience. So
I have an idea for you, Natalia. You should get one of those red Vespas and start going. I don't know if you know the story. Giovanni Rana. That's how he
yeah.
started out. So
No.
Giovanni Rana, the big pasta, he's very famous for his pasta. He started selling his raviolis literally on a little red Vespa with a little, and just going like door to door and delivering his pasta. I mean, this is like the 50s or 60s, but that's how he started his empire.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I have a red Fiat.
There you go. That'll work. It's perfect for Philly's traffic too.
I know it is.
So, but anyway, all right, cool. So, all right, that seems like a struggle that's probably ongoing for people that are long established. Just getting in the markets. I can see you though definitely making an impact into the marketplace because there's something to be said about local. Even if it's locally grown. I see it in the Philly, South Jersey region with locally grown produce, and so pasta fits that perfectly. Also, with a lot, I know some private chefs that they get hired just to cook for their clientele, and they kind of do it on nights and weekends on the side, and they're always on the hunt too for stuff like that. So we'll have to connect with some of those people.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I'd be so happy to provide pasta for that. That'd be great.
So let's see, what else can we ask you? So I wanted to bring this up too with I seen the reel with, and this I love, by the way, and it's very rare that I come across anybody that says it that way. Your farfalle pasta, you mentioned it and you said butterfly, which is right. I can't tell you how many years I've struggled and the aggravation it's caused me when I hear people say bow tie pasta.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand it.
Means butterfly, so
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those like, little pet peeves, but I was like, I hate when people call it bow tie. And here I come across that really, then you're like, you called it farfalle, you called it butterfly. I'm like, thank God. But I also really enjoyed that the pasta with the petals, the poison ivy you referred to it.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Tell me about how you actually made the imprint of the rose petals, or were they rose petals? Or the flower petals?
Yeah, they're edible flowers. I actually got them from River Wards, and they're amazing. I don't know if you've been. They have 2 locations. They're a great little grocery store.
I have. They're awesome.
Oh, they're so cool. They went and found and sourced the flowers for me. They got it in from a local. I can't remember the farm, But so they're all actual flowers and flower petals. So what you do is it's called laminating pasta. So you do one sheet of pasta and then I laid the flowers out and then I put another sheet on top of it and then rolled it through the roller again. So it actually is the flower. You're
The
actually
imprint.
like a flower, but it just like makes it really, really thin and it kind of like spreads it apart. It's like really beautiful. So then I was like, oh my God, flowers and butterflies and spring. So it just kind of made the most sense to do like a flower pasta with farfalle.
I wonder if you could package that and how long the shelf life might be. That might have to be like a made to order kind of thing.
That would definitely be like a special, like somebody
Yeah.
would call in or, order it and then it would just be like fresh. You could pick it up on this day. Definitely.
Now, remind me, what kind of sauce would go well with that?
For that one, because I really wanted to bring out the floral and like the flower elements, I just made a very, very simple sauce with pine nuts and butter. And I think I just did parsley, butter, pine nuts, olive oil, sea salt, and then I put the like more edible flowers on top. So you're just like eating the flowers. And so the sauce was just like a compliment to the flowers because the flowers were like the main attraction.
Right, they're the star of that particular dish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen the pine nuts that you toasted them. That was really that seems like probably the best way to have that. And it's very fresh. You get the fresh herbs in there. So that's, I mean, I got to try that. I might have to put an order in with you. I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
Oh my gosh, anytime.
Yeah, no, I will absolutely. Too similarly, like we grew up around the Italian market area. 10th and Christian is where I grew up, and so we had a place on 11th and Christian that's no longer there. There's townhomes. It was on the northeast corner. It was called Juntas, and it was there for over 100 years. And they had, they had everything. They had wine presses. They had all imported mechanical stuff that you would use. Pasta makers, ravioli, like anything you think of. Waffle irons. I actually have an old waffle iron, the one that looks like you just open and close and you put over a stovetop. But
oh yeah, like a little pizzelle maker, like the one.
Actually, a pizzelle maker is what it is. And that thing's got to be about 100 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's really cool. But why I'm bringing that up is because my mom had bought a pasta maker. And so growing up, she didn't have a lot of time. I mean, she worked like 6 days a week, but we, every once in a while she would bust it out. And I was always fascinated by it. But again, this is a callback to what you were speaking about earlier about how you remember these things, whether it's a taste or even these little memories of these things. So it's important, because we attach a lot of good emotions and thoughts to it and just, memories. And so it's a beautiful thing if you can get away with enjoying that and doing something that you like, that brings you a lot of pleasure. And I do think it is a spiritual experience. I definitely think so.
Yeah, actually so the name of my company, Midnight Pasta, comes from a small little tradition that the family does, that we on Christmas Day, we all go to our separate families, and then my mom's family all comes back together, and it's late at night, and we'll have pasta at midnight. And we would do this in New York at my aunt's house. Everyone would go out and have their night, and you'd have a few drinks, and you'd come back to the kitchen table at her house, and you would have midnight pasta. And so it's like this kind of perfect idea of like, what do you love the most about pasta? And like for me, that's midnight pasta. That's when everybody gets together. That's when it's like the most informal. This is a red sauce or an anchovy sauce with like garlic and oil, like the stuff that you like makes you feel so good. And you're eating it at midnight and you're soaking up the wine that you had and you're just like talking about what happened or the show that you saw or whatever. And it's just such a communal experience in my family. And so it just felt like I want that to spread. So I want to do pop-ups. I want to do things like that, very down home, very informal, because like I love a pop-up with like gorgeous tweezered food. Like I love that so much. But then I also think there's space in Philly to just have like meat sauce, meatballs, like Carlo Rossi, and just like a big plate of communal pasta that everyone's just like, serving to other people. That's how I grew up. It was always a party. People were singing, people were dancing. And like people were drinking and eating and cooking and dancing around while we're making pasta. So like I want what my family gave me. Like I want to just spread that joy. And that's why midnight pasta is like, I don't know, that's why it developed.
That's amazing. That's really, really awesome. You know, that's a good example. You're giving me ideas. Like that's something that we should probably try to do as a family because you know my wife and I we have 3 little ones, and so I'm always it's tough because you caught up in the daily grind, which we're all
Yeah.
you know unfortunately caught up in most of us, and so it's hard to find the time. But you got to find the time. You know, I still try to preserve those traditions, making homemade wine in the basement. You know, I used to do it with my uncle and my dad and stuff. And, you know, they're no longer here. So but I still have the equipment. I still have the old wine press. And those are things you gotta continue, whether you want to or not, you're too tired. And that it's not just obviously Italian. I mean, a lot of great, any ethnicity, you should really, even if you didn't get raised with, in my opinion, even if you didn't get raised with those traditions, you should seek those out just to
Yeah.
preserve that identity. It's important.
Yeah, when I was selling my pasta at a market recently, I just kept like going back to my great grandmother because like when during the pandemic when I started getting really really deep into pasta, my grandfather called me, who's alive still, he's 92,
God
and he
bless.
taught me everything. I know he's the best. Um, he called me and he started rattling off these recipes from his mother that
Wow.
I had not known. And that I don't think any of his kids actually knew that he still had all these recipes. So I have my great grandma's recipes just like handwritten by me from my grandfather calling me during the pandemic. So I just have like, I don't know. I have this idea, like these like I went home to Ohio and I made him a pasta that he asked for specifically, and he got a little tear in his eye and he said, "I feel like my mother made this." And that
Wow.
was, like, the biggest, like I started crying. But that was the biggest compliment, but it's also what you're talking about, these preserving these traditions. Like, if I'm making something that tastes like the way my great-grandmother made something, that is the coolest thing in the world. And, yeah, we can do all these, like, exciting, cool pastas, and, like, I love it. But for me specifically and my brand, that's just about carrying on the tradition from the Abruzze region where my family's from and hoping that I can even still taste like anything I could get there. You know, like my pasta can taste like that.
Well, Abruzzi, I mean, the Abruzzese, everybody knows it. And I say this with a lot of, a lot of pride. I'm not Abruzzese, but I'll tell you what, man, Abruzzese, they can really cook. And they make really great pasta in that region, too. They grow some really great grain and wheat there.
Yeah.
There's a couple brands, I mean, that are just outstanding. They originate from the Abruzzi region. So,
Yeah, and that's like the alla chitarra, the machine that has like the guitar strings. You like press the pasta on and it
the
cuts
guitar.
wires. Yeah. That's also from the region, from the Abruzzo region. So that's like I make that pasta and I sell it in Fishtown Seafood. And that's like something that I'm not like telling everybody, but like emotionally I know like this is from where my family is from. And so it means a lot to be able to sell that in Philly, like specifically through me.
Yeah, I think that there's obviously we're here in America. There is the compulsion to always want to acclimate and kind of go with the trends. But I always remind people we enjoy going to the Italian market. We enjoy going to Chinatown. We enjoy going to the Haitian areas, maybe in Southwest Philly. And there's different and also some great little markets in West Philly that have Middle Eastern food.
Yes.
You need that. You need the cultural significance and the ability to preserve those things. It's a must.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. I'm happy to be able to provide a little bit of that here.
No, I think you're a great representation. I think a lot of people, and I would really compel people, whoever's watching this, to really seek you out and support you, and whether they're even like I was saying, whether they're chefs or whether they're businesses to get with you, because just a quick little 5 minutes looking at your page and what you're doing, proof positive, like you're doing what it takes to really people. There's no doubt people will enjoy it, and they have. Um, it sounds like you've already kind of spoke about it, but spoke about them. But tell us about maybe some of your mentors. I know you mentioned your grandfather, but tell me, Yeah, tell me about what really, the light bulb finally went off. Who were some of your mentors and who were some of your inspirations?
Um, so obviously my grandfather. Um, I love Mark Vetri, who's a Philly chef. I'm
Absolutely.
sure
Yeah.
you know Mark. Um, Eating a plate of his pasta was huge for me. That was really big. I started my pasta journey, like getting really into it with his book, Mastering Pasta, which I like suggest to everybody if they want to just start making pasta anywhere. And I just wanted to like learn more, and I just learned so much through him. So he's a huge mentor in the pasta world for me. And then also Pasta Grannies. Do you watch that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was
They're
big
so
for me
cute.
too. I know, I love it because that's what I wanna be. I wanna just be like a pasta granny. I wanna be a stregonona. I wanna be like a witchy grandma. So, I love that. That was big for me because it's just like watching like, not watching chefy chefs. Again, I'll bring that up, cutting things perfectly, and these grandmas are just, like, rolling an orchietta, and they're just everything is just rustic and, like, that blew my mind. I love that. That's my jam. So there's like I have a mix of mentors of like my grandpa, these beautiful old Italian women that I watch, and then also Mark Vetri, who's one of I think the best pasta chefs in the country. And so I mean, I've met him a few times. He's lovely. He's a great guy. So anything he does, I'm always like there first day it's open.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, he opened that Fiorella's a few years back. That Fiorella's that which is on the it's between Ninth and Eighth on Christian.
Yeah.
I grew up there, so I used to go to Fiorella's and get sausage there.
To get sausage. Oh, that's so cool. And
Yeah,
they
as a
kept a
kid.
lot of their same stuff there, their equipment. They kept a lot of
I
that, and
know. I know.
the same sign on the side of the wall.
Yeah, I see, and that's another thing. It has nothing particularly to do with food, but I love when people preserve
I agree.
the original facade or the original anything to do with the pro. And it's a shame too, 'cause especially in Philly, and not just Philly, but especially in Philly, for years they kind of just like did away with a lot of like beautiful old structures, and
Mm,
it's a shame they let things go decrepit, especially like in the '80s and stuff. They kind of didn't really because there were some amazing buildings, especially like in North Broad, and they're still there, and they're just like they let them go to hell, and it's a shame. I really feel bad about that, but I love the fact that in regards to like what they did with Fiorella's, they preserved everything. It's great, and I remember going in there as a kid. And that place has been there since I probably the late 1800s or early 1900s.
that's so cool. And I think that the Italian market is one of the most special places like in the country. Honestly, I love it so much there. And I think that like those things should be preserved. I mean, people remember going to these shops. We shouldn't be like ripping them down and putting in like new stuff. And if you can just have like a little nod to someone's memory, then I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's it's a struggle because obviously a lot of those immigrants were on the stands, and then you always hear, oh well, there's no Italians on the stands. Okay, so do you want your children to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, stay in the freezing cold, and make $80, for a 12-hour day? Like, yes, it's the immigrant that, but everybody has a turn at that, and then the assumption is that you move up and your family does better, and that's what you want, right? But a lot of those people that worked in those stands, a lot of their kids went on to become doctors and professionals, and so you got to start somewhere, and
Yeah.
so, and that's the beauty of being an immigrant, whether it's the Polish, Italian, Irish, Mexican. It's a struggle, and there's a beauty behind it, and to me, it's a noble struggle. It's not easy, but we should celebrate all of them.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree with that.
All right. So, with that being the case, now, is there anything coming up? What's your goals like in the next year, 2 years, 5 years?
Cool. So there's some shared kitchen spaces that I want to start getting into. So my goal is to be able to sell my pasta in the Italian market, sell my pasta in other neighborhoods. Um, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Is it like?
there's a little crackling, but
I
maybe
hope that it's
yeah,
okay.
sometimes it's a computer.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, and do some pop-ups that involve pasta, like pasta, music, dancing. I won't give away too much, but I've got some fun stuff in the works.
Well, look, we are excited to continue following you along your journey and support you. You know, I'm a big fan of yours, but I think you're going to continue gaining a lot more and more fans and hopefully sponsors and people that will display your beautiful talent to the masses. So
Thank
I
you.
think that yeah, and you listen, you deserve it. I praise you a lot, but you definitely deserve it. It's not like this is legit. So
Thanks.
listen,
So sweet.
it's been an absolute pleasure. I know we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. That's okay. That's what happens. But I just want to thank you so much for just taking the time out, telling us all your story, which is beautiful. And I can't wait to see what comes of it and follow you along the journey. And I can't wait, most importantly, to order some pasta.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. And you're so sweet. I really appreciate everything you say. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, it's absolutely my pleasure. And all right, well, folks, listen, you've watched Natalia Lepore Hagan of Midnight Pasta Company. Get in touch with her. We'll make sure we provide links to everything and order her pasta. You won't regret it. And please spread the word. And again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, make some comments. Tell us what you think about this episode, and any feedback is well appreciated. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Natalia, most importantly, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.